Hey, what's good, y'all? What's good? This the Thawahgabar for Black Authentic Truth, man. In the building, man. The Thawahgabar, Black Authentic Truth. Sunday, it's a beautiful Sunday. I started off all the time asking people, how is your Sunday afternoon going out here? It is a beautiful Sunday afternoon in Southern California. Excuse me. And y'all know, I'm going to keep it real. If in fact it's an ugly day, a smoggy day, a terrible day, I'm gonna let you know. But today actually is another beautiful day. And this weekend was the ISUPK West Coast Cookout, and Commander Junior Hanna had a lecture out here talking about, video games and pornography and how those type of things not only destroy your children, but they destroy your marriage. And some heavy, heavy stuff was brought out that I'm going to recap. Okay. So I'm gonna see if a lot of more people come up in here, and then we're gonna get right to it. I got a couple of stories, some current events. I didn't really get a chance to prepare, but as always, we're gonna get some authentic truth out of every live, right? Shout out to Renee. Renee, you said you got 2 more hours at the slave on a 12-hour shift. Wow, 12 hours is something else. I tried to work 12 hours. I tried to work 12 hours. This was during It was during like the holiday season, just some years back, and working in a warehouse, and I just could not do it. I couldn't make it. I got to the 10, and I was like, okay, I got 2 more hours to go. And then I got to 11. I was like, man, F this job. F this job. I just cannot do it. You know? Shout out to you, Rodney. Yeah. So, yeah, man. So, like I said, it's a beautiful. I wish I like the way it looks today. I wish I could actually went somewhere like the beach or something, but I got a lot of things going on. Of course, I got a lot of brothers and sisters out here from different areas, different states, Pennsylvania, New York, Florida, Georgia. I mean, you name it, Tennessee. I got it's all kind of brothers and sisters from all over the states out here for the ISUPK West Coast Cookout. And I just I wanted to squeeze this in because I've been really busy this weekend, but I was like, you know what, for the people that really rock with me, I have to go at least, an hour. I got to give them at least, something to get us to Wednesday. Wednesday, I'll go live again. And I said I was going to go live Wednesday. I didn't do it. I was too tired. I was, I was drained and I wasn't able to do it. But, life happens, things happen, you have responsibilities, you get busy or whatnot. But, long as you keep pushing, keep going forward, keep making it happen, everything to come together. So without further ado, I ain't going to waste too much time. I wanted to talk about, first of all, I was going to recap. So in that lecture, what was brought out was the things that they're putting in the video games, the sexual content. And I know we all know that there's some highly sexually suggestive content in video games. And, images play a part in how we think and how we move throughout the world and how we react in our impulsive nature. And so that was really, something good for Black and brown people to hear about, what your children are subjected to, what they can be possibly watching, what they can be seeing, what is going into them. Because, the eyes is the window to the soul, you know what I mean? So it ain't just what you hear, but what you see also goes into you, you know what I mean? And when it comes to a lot of these video games, and it just comes to social media in general, there is definitely uh like a definitely people who are aiming to get this into the mind of your children, whether they be people in production or computer programming or whatever it may be. Is definitely people that they are making a concerted effort to push this type of stuff to younger children. Also, when it comes to how social media affects women. And I talked about this before on Black Authentic Truth, that, they've done studies on this. They've done studies and show you that when it comes to social media, what social media does to a woman is it makes her compare herself to these seemingly beautiful women on social media. And so she's looking at these seemingly beautiful women with the perfect body, and they have all the confidence in the world. And then she looks at herself in the mirror and it makes her depressed. Now, social media has I know Facebook, they have admitted to this. They have admitted, when that this is some years ago, a whistleblower came out. It was a white blonde lady. I can't remember her name, but she came out and said they know that this is happening, but they don't do anything to stop it or to, help young women. But the people that created social media, the people that, they want you to scroll and they want you to, like and share and view this stuff so that they can make money. So they really don't care about what is going on with you in your personal life, you know? And so a woman will look at this, and I think I made a reel about this, that you look at people on social media and you see them, oh, they're on a cruise in the Bahamas, they're on a cruise in the, Puerto Rico, Jamaica, somewhere like that. Or they're at a nice restaurant showing you, they're eating steak and lobster. You know what I mean? They just live this extravagant life on social media. And you're looking at that and thinking that these people are like superstar, like they're like celebrities. And so social media in general makes the average person look like a celebrity, makes the average person that, if you knew them, you wouldn't even look at them like that. Like you're looking at a woman and she's on a cruise and life just looks so good. And she's got this nice job and, she goes on trips and she wines and dines. And you're like, man, I wish I could have that life. Not knowing that the woman is, at home, arguing with her children, running up on them and ready to punch them and, acting out and up and down and depressed and on medication. And you would never know that because you're looking at your phone, you're looking at this 2D screen, you're looking at it like, oh, okay. All right, you know, her life looks perfect when it's nowhere near. So in that lecture, things like that was brought out. And then pornography was also talked about, that and how that affects marriages, how that affects, and it's not just men that watch pornography. It's a lot of women nowadays that are watching pornography. A lot of women are watching pornography, and men and women, what it does is it desensitizes you to each other. That's what the pornography is doing to you, is desensitizing you. And if you are not having any real physical contact with your significant other, I mean, that is what maintains a marriage. So if you're not doing that, then, other things are going to fall apart too. If you don't have some type of, consistent intimacy. And so that was brought out. And, now how easy it is for children also to be able to access this type of content. Very, very easy. And I can tell you, like, I remember my first time being exposed to sexual images when we was walking home from school, and it would just happen to be a ripped up magazine just blowing in the wind, and we happened to pick it up. And of course, what we saw. And so times have changed now. Times are now on a cell phone. A child could, just, press the wrong link, and then all kind of crazy stuff will pop up. So this is something else, how, we need to be focused and paying attention to what our children is watching. And so, yeah, with the pornography and everything, that can destroy a marriage also. So these are different ways in how, as far as the images, social media in general, how it can not only destroy a marriage, but, destroy a family and teach negative traits to children. And so we have to guard our children from that. So when it comes to that, it also made, like, the lecture was superb. Commander Junior Honda's lecture was superb. And it inspired me to do a lecture. And I've always said that I would do one, but maybe I'll do a live lecture on Black Authentic Truth, on something that, I think is relevant to Black people. I could go with images, how images are very important, the things that we see. Also some history, how do we even know that Black people are the Israelites, are the real Jews? That'll be a good lecture, just to give a piece by piece perspective and a timeline up until right now in America. What do y'all think? I think that would be a good lecture, but I'm inspired now to do a lecture. I'm inspired to do a lecture. And so I think I will. Hey, what's good with you, Black Rain 303, my main man? All right. Yeah, I think I will do a lecture because I'm inspired to do one now. So what I got in store, I want to talk about Kyren Lacey, the LSU football player who was framed, who was lied on and accused of negligent homicide. And he was nowhere near the accident that he was accused of. He couldn't have done it, but this brother he took his own life. I don't want to say the S word. Unfortunately, he took his own life, and he was in line to be number one draft pick in the NFL. It's a terrible story. And it's sad that you just wish the brother could have held on a little longer and the truth would have came out. You know, Also, what else I want to talk about? I want to talk about the superintendent, Dr. Roberts, superintendent of, I believe it was Iowa, where he basically lied his way to get the job and said he had accolades from MIT and all of this, and they hired him. And he was making $286,000 a year as a superintendent, and he was doing a hell of a job. And you know, ICE came and detained him, and all of these things came out later on. So I'm gonna look at that video, and then let's see, and then Renia Lewis, the sister in Vallejo, California, that was found murdered, dismembered inside of a wall. Okay, so I'm gonna get into those particular stories, and we're going to get rocking and rolling. Shout out to everybody that's rocking. You are now on Black Authentic Truth with Thawahgabar. I appreciate everybody that's here. You know what I mean? I appreciate everybody, and we're going to get into it. So let me get this first. Matter of fact, I'm going to screen share. I don't have any videos. Like I told you, I didn't have no time to prepare, but I said, you know what? I got to do it. I gotta do a live today. I have to do it for the people that rock with me. And if I wait another week, like a lot of these current events, they're going to be old news. Time moves fast. You know what I'm saying? A new story comes up and people totally forget. So I want to make sure I get to this stuff that's pertinent to us. So let me grab this video real quick. All right. Another thing I've been thinking, I'm like, if it's ever anything that I'm talking about that maybe a brother agree with or disagree with, you can always come up here and we can talk about it. I can put the invite into the chat. If you're somebody that disagree with me, maybe it's an older video, you disagree with my stance, you disagree with what I believe in, you disagree with something, you can hit me at thawahgabar@gmail, and we can discuss it. We can set up something. We can set up, a debate, a discourse, whatever it is. We can do that. All right. So let me get this video. All right. Oh, that's not Kyren. I'm sorry. You know what? I don't even know if we actually need the video. I think a lot of people know about what happened to Kyren Lacey, and I'm just going to go into it a little more. Let me just say that the man that he hit well, he didn't hit him. I'm sorry. Let me take that back. I'm sorry. But he was accused. Now, there was an accident at an intersection, and this brother Kyren was accused of being the reason why this accident happened. So the accident happened before he even got to the intersection. He was in a green Dodge Charger. And so the accident happened. This 78-year-old man, he dies. And then you see in the video Kyren roll up. And now you had the police on a video. There's a video where he is talking to the other gentleman that was there. It was a black man and a white officer, state trooper. And the black brother is telling him he's saying somebody else was at fault, not Kyren, not the LSU standout. But it shows that the cop is trying to frame this young brother. Even though the brother didn't believe, and he said he didn't do it, he still showed up to the police station and turned himself in. Just shows how honest he was. But it's almost like, damn, I know I didn't do it. It's probably going on in his mind, like, I know I didn't do it. I just want to get this over with. and they was trying to get him for negligent homicide. He was 72 yards away. He couldn't possibly had, created that situation, that traffic collision. But they went ahead with it. And subsequently, this brother took his own life. Let me see if I can get a picture of the brother. All right. Y'all just give me a second. Let me pull up a picture. Or maybe a video might let me just see. I think a video might be easier, faster to do, because I'll have to download the. Yeah, we're going to get this. Excuse me. Yeah, so we'll do this.
That's right. So Kyren Lacey's attorney says that he looked at every piece of evidence, including surveillance video, body cam footage, and the investigative report by the Lafourche Parish District Attorney's Office. During that interview shared with us by Homa TV, the attorney says reports between the District Attorney's Office and state police do not add up. During a recent interview on Homa TV, former LSU football star Kyren Lacey's attorney, Matt Ori, says data and surveillance video shows Lacey was more than 70 yards away from a collision on State Highway 20 in Lafourche Parish that killed 78-year-old Herman Hall in December of 2024.
At the time of impact, he's 72.6 yards behind the vehicles at the time of impact.
Following that wreck, Lacey was accused of being at fault for the crash and turned himself into state police in January on counts of negligent homicide, felony hit and run, and reckless operation of a vehicle. At the time of his arrest, Louisiana State Police stated that Lacey, who was driving a green Dodge Charger, illegally passed multiple vehicles, causing a vehicle traveling in the opposite direction to avoid Lacey by swerving and crashing head-on into the vehicle that Herman Hall was a passenger in. Ori says Lacey was too far away to have any effect on the crash.
Kyren Lacey did, in fact, pass 4 cars. There's no disputing that. Further north, Kyren Lacey passed 4 cars. However,
you see that it shows in the video he was nowhere near the crash. Let me keep going.
He was back in his lane of travel, 92.3 yards. Back in his lane, behind Mr. Hall.
In a statement sent to WWL Friday night, Louisiana State Police said in response to the Homa TV interview, in part, investigative findings revealed that Mr. Lacey's reckless driving while approaching oncoming traffic led to the events of the crash.
The very last line of the report from the district attorney's office says, the evidence submitted in the crash report does not support that Kyren Lacey should have known that his actions were the cause of the crash that happened approximately 72 yards in front of him.
Ori suggests
So basically it said he shouldn't have even known. He shouldn't have even known, or it shouldn't have ever been put in his head that he was the cause of that crash. They telling this brother he's the cause of the crash when he was nowhere near the crash. And because of his conscience and because of the pressure and because of him losing stuff and not possibly having a career anymore, all of his dreams shattered, this brother took his own life because an officer lied on him. And I have to say it, a white officer lied on him. You understand? State trooper blatantly lied. Let me play some more. Now, this right here is the officer talking to the witness, and the witness is pointing out somebody else that was the cause of the accident, showing you that this state trooper had ill intent.
State trooper was trying to influence one witness on how to describe the crash. But during that exchange, the witness involved in the crash can be heard blaming another driver who is not Lacey, before the state trooper redirects the conversation to Lacey's charger.
That lady in the back of me, she didn't know what's happening. That's how she called that record. She was running in the back of me.
So, but the charger was coming right at you,
Right,
correct? And that's why you had to slam on your brake, head on with you. So, yeah, just make sure you include that, and that's very important.
Lacey, one of LSU's top wide receivers set to enter this year's NFL draft, took his own life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound in April.
To this day, formal charges were never accepted by the district attorney. This is over.
That's a shame.
There's no
Done.
criminal proceeding.
Done.
This is about making a promise to a kid who begged you to help him.
And we are waiting for a response after reaching out.
That's crazy, man. That's crazy. Now, this brother, you know, if he could have just held on, and, you know, we went into this last week when I was talking about taking your own life. And a lot of times, well, every time, is just having the understanding and the knowledge and wisdom of what is, you know, what you don't want to do, and that you don't want to give up. But everybody ain't built like that. Everybody ain't raised like that. Everybody don't have the tools and the knowledge, or have people around them to strengthen them and tell them, don't give up. Don't give up. Things are going to change. Another thing that I would say is that you have to think about what we come from. Our ancestors came from terrible, terrible foundations and experiences, and they didn't give up, you know? They didn't give up. So we have the strength and the resiliency that's built into us if we just tap into it, and if we just, you know, talk to people when you're feeling depressed, and when you're feeling like, you know, I have no other recourse but to take my own life, like this brother did. I wish he never did it, because now he's been vindicated. A lot of times this has happened to young Black males where they're accused of doing something that they never even did. And a lot of times in their young life, their life is taken by somebody else. And then 50, 60, 70, 80 years later, now they're saying he was innocent. We never had no evidence for what happened to him. But it's too late. All of this evidence comes out. Now it's too late. It's too late. It came out now. The truth finally came out, but it's too late now. What could have been? What would have been? We'll never know, because a state trooper lied. Now, my question is this: why is he going to get punished? Is he going to be prosecuted? Why is it always when law enforcement, when they do something, they're not held accountable? Even if it's a Kyren, let's just say hypothetically, that calls the cops on someone, like in the case of John Crawford, who was inside a Walmart looking at a BB gun, holding it, when the police hit the aisle and just unloaded fire on him, killing him. What about the person who called the police, who made the false report, who overreacted? What about those people? They need to have their ass in jail. This state trooper, he needs to be held accountable, straight up and down. You know what I'm saying? What do y'all think? What do y'all think? Let me get a time check. All right. This is a sad story, man. This is a sad story. I'm gonna move on to the next story, but this story with this brother, Kyren Lacey, is a cautionary tale that, you know, you can be doing everything good. You can be a star athlete, and white supremacy will still find a way to snuff you out. Also, you have to be strong enough. You have to be strong enough to weather the storm. Just weather the storm, man. If you are a person that lives righteous, that's doing the right thing, and you treat people how you want to be treated, and then something terrible starts to happen to you. Just weather the storm, man. Just have no excuses and just weather the storm. Think about your ancestors for strength. Think about what they went through. Think about the pain and the terrorism your ancestors went through when you're going through it, and say, man, if they could have did that, man, I can get through this. I can get through this. You know what I'm saying? Life is about ups and downs off top. Y'all already know. People that's older, you already know. Life is about ups and downs, man. It's not chess. It's not checkers. It's chess. You know what I'm saying? It's ups and downs. So you already know you can't get blindsided by what you are currently going through. You always know, like, okay, I'm going through something right now. The world is crumbling around me, but you know what I'm saying? I'm a hang in there. I'm gonna fight this. I'm gonna fight this, and I'm gonna get through this. And if he would have had that mentality, and he would have had people around him that that he spoke to, because we don't know if he just stayed to himself and he didn't express how he was really feeling. But you would hope that you have people around you that'll be like, nah, man, come on. That's a demon. That's a demon in your mind telling you life ain't worth living no more. Nah, bro, you got too much to live, man. Live forward. You got too much to live. Like, come on, stop playing. But this brother didn't have that, or he didn't have the knowledge and the tools. And if he would have just held on, he would have been vindicated. Unfortunately, in this world, too many times, Black men get vindicated when it's far, far too late. All right. So now I want to go to the superintendent, this video. Let me get this video real quick. Let me see.
We are learning new details about a former Des Moines school superintendent arrested by ICE. According to documents obtained by the Associated Press, Ian Roberts falsely claimed a doctoral degree when applying for the job. He was hired even after the school board learned about the misrepresentation. Let's bring in CBS News correspondent Lana Zach live for us in Iowa City. Lana, originally much of the community rallied around Roberts, but as more information comes to light, things have changed. What can you tell us?
Yes, we are learning so much more about Ian Roberts, who at one point was the superintendent of the largest school district here in Iowa. He is now in federal custody, and so much of his resume now appears to be grossly exaggerated, to put it generously. It turns out MIT says they have no record of him attending that doctoral degree that he claims that he had from Morgan State. He never received. That did come up during the hiring process, but he explained it away by saying he had completed everything but the dissertation, and that allowed the school board to move forward with hiring him. However, there's other things that are deeply, deeply troubling that have come out, including even the Best Principal of the Year award that he would celebrate that he had received. Turns out that George Washington University says they don't even give out that award. We also have learned that back in 2023, soon after he was hired, it seems like he also had a restraining order.
Hey, let me tell you something. This brother was sharp. This brother was sharp. He was on point. Listen, he planned this, and this is not the first time we seen this before. Y'all remember a few years ago, it was a young brother that acted as though he was a doctor, and he was up in there working in a hospital as a doctor, as like a head doctor. Y'all remember that? Well, this brother right here, man, he was on sharp, wrote down he have accolades from MIT, all principals awards and all of these awards, and they looking in his history, and like, this brother, he done fabricated a whole history in order to get the job. I'm gonna keep going.
Against him. We're still trying to dig into the details of all of that. But as you can imagine, none of this even comes close to comparing to how much hot water he's in when it comes to these federal charges, because we learned today through court documents that not only did federal agents find one handgun in his possession when in the school car that he was driving when he was arrested. But they also did a search of his home. There were 3 additional firearms that were found in his home. Now, it is against the law, we should say explicitly, for somebody who is not here with legal status.
Now you got to notice how she just worded that, because when I heard that, I said, it's okay. It's not against the law to have a weapon, and he ain't did anything wrong other than lying on his resume and overstaying his visa. That's the whole reason why ICE came and got this brother, because he overstayed his visa. And now all of these things is coming out. So now they're making a big deal about him having firearms and, stuff like that. In the big picture, it's really not nothing, because he didn't really do anything to anyone. And they're trying to give you that impression, though, that when it comes to all of these school shootings and things of that nature, look, he had a gun. He had firearms that, he had firearms. Normally, this would not be, it would be nothing wrong with that, right? There would be no issue with that. But the fact that, they done got by him, basically. And we're talking about being a superintendent and everybody loving him. Everybody, taking his advice. He's making $286,000 a year. Now his visa, and it owned the fact that his visas is, overstayed, and everything that he said in the resume isn't true. But let's just be real. The brother was sharp. The brother, he got them. And they're upset at that. But the big thing is like, why is this even news, though? With all the things going on right now, they're trying to make this a big story. And it's not even, the most important thing that's going on in the world right now, or in America right now. Right? So let me play some more.
And he lost his legal status after overstaying a student visa. It is illegal for somebody without legal status to possess a firearm. Again, one of those firearm charges came up during the hiring process. Roberts explained that away. And the board said at that time that all of it made sense to them. And they proceeded clearly with his hiring.
What are they saying now, though, Lana? How is the school district reacting to his arrest?
They have really changed their tone. Initially, when word of his apprehension by ICE agents came out, the community rallied to support Dr. Roberts, as they affectionately called him. The school, even in their initial press conferences, quoted him. The members of the school board said we should continue to conduct ourselves in the way that Dr. Roberts would have encouraged us to do so, with empathy. Now,
look, she said that the community was saying we should react to this how Dr. Roberts would have reacted. So this brother done duped everybody. He's living the dream. And obviously he was excellent at the job, right? Obviously he was doing the job at such a level that these people looked up to him. This community looked up to him and quoted him when he initially got, caught by ICE. They wanted him free. And they said, we should go about this the way Dr. Roberts would. I mean, this brother is sharp. I ain't going to even lie. Of course, he wasn't honest with putting those accolades, but let's just look at the worst thing that he did. He overstayed his visa. And at the same time, he had some firearms. Let's take away the fact that he overstayed his visa. Having a firearm is not a crime if you have it legally. You know what I'm saying? It's not a big deal is what I'm saying. Like, he wasn't, they didn't catch him with like how they do a lot of officials and Congress people and politicians and chief of police with child pornography. They didn't catch him with something like, some weird stuff. They didn't catch him doing nothing weird. They're just really mad that he got over on them. They're really mad that he was able to, persuade so many people and be so excellent at a job. Now think about this. there are jobs today. A lot of the jobs today, you need, you need a degree for a lot of jobs today. A lot of the jobs today that you need a degree for 30, 40 years ago, you didn't need a degree for. You get what I'm saying? And so he's working a job that technically they would have hired that person who had all of these accolades, like he put down MIT, he put down other things, degrees and things of that nature and awards. They would have hired somebody like that. But what he has showed you, us, and them is that all of those accolades really don't matter. What are you saying, Thawa? What are you saying? What do you mean, Thawa? What I'm saying is that this brother came in sharp, doing the job to the best of his ability and doing a good job at it, to where he had the support of the community. The community loved him. The community was behind him until they heard about all of the, the deception, all of the stuff he put on his resume was not true. Other than that, the community was riding with him. They was quoting him. And it just shows you how weak and fragile their sense of the sense of the level of education, and the sense of going to school and getting a degree to get the good job, where you got somebody that didn't even have the education come in, swindle you, get the job, and do the job so good and so correct and perfect that nobody even batted an eye. Everybody supported him and loved him. It was only because he overstayed his visa that he was caught. If he hadn't overstayed the visa, he'll still be the superintendent of schools, the biggest county of schools in America till this day, till this very minute. Ain't that something? You know what I mean? And I will say this, man, don't go and, tell a story and lie on a resume and nothing like that. Just tell the truth. But something about this story is like, man, I just see that, it's a lot of jobs that they put way up here because of degrees and accolades, but really anybody can do the job if given a chance. Just like Ian Roberts, or how they called him, Dr. Roberts. All right. So I'm going to stop right there. I'm going to just leave it alone. Okay. And then I'm going to get to this. I got one more video. I'm going to get to, what is this? Renia Lewis, the sister that was found dismembered very recently in Vallejo, California. Very reminiscent of another story. The story, I know y'all remember that story about a year ago with the beautiful sister that went on a date with some white man that looked like Conan the Barbarian, and they never found her. They never seen her family never seen her again. He had took her to, she went to his house. He unalived her, then he dismembered her and put her body parts in different parts of the city. Okay. So let me get this.
Where police found the body of 28-year-old Renia Lewis hidden inside a detached unit in the backyard.
She was concealed in a space that led to the attic.
Family members tell KTVU the victim had been dismembered.
This was a horrific crime.
Memorial sits outside the Vallejo home near 14th Street and Star Avenue, where police found the body of 28-year-old Renia Lewis hidden inside a detached unit in the backyard.
She was concealed in a space that led to the attic.
Family members tell KTVU the victim had been dismembered.
This was a horrific crime. Not only did this bring pain to the family, it brought pain to the community.
It's a shock to the whole community of Vallejo.
Well-wishers dropped off flowers in memory of the woman who was the subject of an intense search and ebony alert. Hope turned to despair when police found her with the help of her family who had pinged her phone.
it's really sad to know that she has family and friends that really, came together. Like, they really loved that girl enough to do the footwork on their own to try to find out where she was.
Police arrested 41-year-old Douglas Irwin Shaw,
Look
a
at it.
father of 2 girls, at Six Flags.
Look at the suspect. That's the usual suspect. You understand? That's the usual suspect. Now they mad at Dr. Roberts and people like that for stories like that. They should be focusing on stories like this. Right? Do y'all agree? They should be focusing on stories like this with Renia Lewis and this white man who the family says she was not in a relationship with. She don't know how they came, in contact with one another. But he not only unalived her and he's admitted to it, but he dismembered her body and put it in a wall. This is what America needs to focus on. This ain't getting no airplay, y'all. But y'all remember just, a month ago, they were talking about Irina Zarutska, the Ukrainian woman that was her throat was cut by a black man on a bus. Y'all remember that? It was all over the internet, all on every news channel. But they talking about Dr. Roberts and him lying on his resume and becoming the superintendent of schools. They're not talking about stories like this. You know what I'm saying? They're not talking about the stories like this with Renia Lewis. They're not talking about those stories. I'm going to play some more.
Discovery Kingdom in Vallejo, where he works. He was booked on suspicion of murder. Lewis's heartbroken mother, Terry, was at the scene when police found her daughter's body on Tuesday. She spoke to KTVU by phone on Wednesday.
This is unreal. This is unreal. And I would never see my daughter again because of this monster.
She and police confirmed the 2 were not a couple and may have met only recently.
She was a grown woman. What choices she made was on her. I still love her, no matter what. I love all my children, no matter what they're doing, good or bad.
I spoke to a former...
That's a black mama for you, ain't it? That's a black mama for you. She said she was a grown woman. I love her no matter what. Yeah, I understand that, but she should have, and I don't want y'all to think that I'm insensitive. Or don't think that. Don't think I'm insensitive. Don't think that I don't love my people, but we have to start teaching our children the right way. I should have said a more biblical way. You got to teach your daughters that not to, it's just not safe to be in any and every man's face, but especially to deal with the devil. I mean, how many times are we going to see this? Yeah, there's a lot of people who are grown. There's a lot of people that are 28 years old. She was going to be 29 come tomorrow. Tomorrow would be, she would have turned 29. There's a lot of people that age, but a lot of people that age still don't have the tools and the knowledge of how to move around in this world and who to trust and who not to trust, especially women. I just went over it last week with those sisters that went to Africa, Northern Africa, and a sister almost didn't make it back, almost got, sex trafficked. You see time and time again, women, a lot of women are silly and gullible. And all they're focused on is having a good time. And that's how a lot of women become victims, like this sister. Now, for the person that can take instruction and take critical, instruction, You get it. But a lot of our people get emotional and get bent out of shape and feel some type of way because I said, a lot of sisters are silly and gullible. A lot of women, black women, and they'll be in their 20s, their 30s, their 40s, their 50s, their 60s. They still stupid and gullible, making dumb choices, putting themselves in danger, putting their children in danger, thinking things are sweet when it's not sweet. It's not sweet. You think like this can't never happen to me. This can't never, ain't nothing going to happen. He seems like a nice guy. Meanwhile, he's Hannibal Lecter. He seems like a sweet guy. Y'all better stop trusting y'all daughters around these people. I'm trying to tell you. We got too many examples. Too many examples of what happens to our people. And the family said they don't know how she came in contact with him. They don't know who this guy is, so she must have just had met him. And Renee said these women nowadays do anything for money. Yeah. Do anything for money, and head is just full of air. Don't want to listen to nobody, can't tell you nothing. You know what I'm saying? That's sad, and the cold part is that her family, the one that kind of got in the streets and started pinging her phone, trying to figure out where was her last place where she was at. And they kind of the ones that did the investigation before the police could. So, her family loved her, and we all love our family. But we learning the wrong thing. And the wrong thing is thinking that you can be with any and everybody and you can be loose out here. And you can date men and I don't know what she was into. But looking at that sister and looking at that man, that monster, they don't look like they would have been a compatible couple. Definitely not. They look like they probably was together for some other reason. I don't know, but she shouldn't have been around that animal. She should not have been around him. Let me see. Yeah, she shouldn't have been around that dude.
A girlfriend of the suspect, whom she met when they both worked at Six Flags. She and her father told me he was a narcissist who thought everyone else was wrong. This woman got a restraining order against him in 2023 because of his threats.
See?
Terry Lewis says the suspect is in jail where he belongs.
He needs to get life so he can sit there and suffer.
Now, Renia would have turned 29 on Monday. The Solano County DA's office.
That's crazy. That's crazy. I don't know, y'all. I don't get it. I don't understand why y'all don't get it. That these people are not to be trusted like this. And the news is not even talking about this. The news ain't talking about this story, but like I said earlier, Irina Zaruska, that whole thing, they was really talking about crime and black people being criminals and all of that. And they conveniently forgot about what happened to Nia Wilson, on the BART on the train in California when she got out and the white guy stabbed her and her sister. But they made a big deal about that Irina Zaruska. And the point is that I was trying to make back then is that, you don't have to, it's pointless to make this point with white folks because it's not going to matter. Okay. It's not going to matter. But I want to show black people though. The point that I was making was that, violent crime happens amongst every race of people. You got that, you have unstable people in every race of people. You have, crazy people and, mentally violent people in every race of people. right? That's just common, like logically, common sense. That's what it is. That's what we all know what it is. And so you notice that white supremacists only really get mad when it is a black person that has done something to white folks. And now even the news cast, they only push that narrative, like that one with Irina Zaruska on the bus and the black man did what he did to her. You've seen that all over everywhere. That was everywhere. And that was right before what happened to Charlie Kirk. So, you know, they already was angry. Then they got even more angrier after Charlie Kirk, but it was blowed up real big. But I don't remember Nia Wilson's murder being blowed up real big like that. I remember it being a story, but it wasn't blowed up real big on all the news outlets. And now you have the situation with this sister, Renia Lewis. They're not talking about this. They're talking about the brother who lied on his resume and became the superintendent of schools in Iowa. They focus on stupid stories, but they won't focus on this. But what it shows you is that this type of violent crime, it happens both ways. And it happens even more our way. Black people are the people who are more likely to experience racially, motivated violent crime. We're the ones. We are not the people you should be afraid of. But they don't really care about that. But black people, you should care. You should know who is unaliving people everywhere. There was like 6 mass shootings after Charlie Kirk. There's been like 380 mass shootings on the year. Perpetrators all white. Black people don't even really care. Like, we don't even care about, like, black people, we mind our business, right? So like when that thing happened with Charlie Kirk, black people didn't even know who he was. We didn't know. Like, black people mind their business. Black people usually are more likely to respond in a racially charged manner if somebody has first attacked them. But other than that, black people are not looking for a racially charged debate, fight, discourse with white people. Black people don't want that type of smoke. I'm not saying all, but I'm saying usually black people just mind their business. We don't care about stuff like that, because just living, paying your rent, paying your bills, and the regular things of life have most black people's attention, right? And then we don't care about what white folks got going on that deep, but they are obsessed with what we got going on. They really care about, it's like they cannot live their life and just focus on white issues, right? They have to focus on what's going on in the black community and say, well, you need to do this and y'all don't do this and y'all are number one. Like, who even brings up statistics? Who cares? Black people don't care about statistics. The only statistics niggas care about is, NBA, NFL statistics, who's the GOAT, who's this. That's really it. But think about that. Think about, like, you have a people that constantly are saying, you did this, you're 13% of this, if 80%, like, who sits there and thinks about that stuff? Huh? Like, really think about that. Who sits there and just, like, think about, yeah, all of these Native American Indians, they're this number of people in, drinking alcohol. This number of, like, only a people who have who are flooded with guilt of their ancestors would do something like that. Try to find a way to make themselves feel better when black people ain't trying to put nobody down to feel better. We trying to have pride in ourselves, right? We trying to glory in our accomplishments, in our accolades, and how great we are and how beautiful we are by itself. We're not trying to look and say, oh, well, white people do 30% of this, 40% of that. No, that's not us. We don't even really have that spirit. We do our thing. We mind our business. And so I guess the point that I'm making is that I guess what I'm saying is when it comes to that type of energy that we receive all the time, constantly, being constantly accused, being constantly railroaded, being constantly framed. Like, another thing, a point I want to bring out is, how many times have you seen like the story with Kyren Lacey? But there's other stories. There's other stories where brothers that sat in prison for 40 years, sat in prison for 30, 50 years, and then they get out and they're vindicated. How many times have you seen a situation where, oh, that's a white man that sat in prison for 50 years? How many times have you ever seen it? I've never seen it. I've never seen a story where a white man was locked up for 20, 30, 40 years of his life and then exonerated. And so we're always the people that's accused, that's railroaded, that's framed. They always point their finger like this. And you know why that is? It's because when you hear them talk like that, they are self-projecting. They're self-projecting what they know about their people. White people ain't stupid. They know exactly what their people have done. And so when you hear them talk about black people, when you heard Charlie Kirk say it, whoever says it, back in their head, in the back of their conscience, they know what they have done. They know what their ancestors have done. And so really all it is them self-projecting how they feel about their own race onto you. Whenever they say, try to make you like you're the criminal of the earth, the murderer of the earth, it's because they know they are. That's really it. It's not really even deep. So don't even be bothered by it. Just know the next time you see a post and they're talking about black people or how terrible they are, just know that black people cannot hold a torch to what white Americans, Europeans have done on this planet. When you talk about 77 million North American Indians, and you talk about 100 million Black Americans, when you talk about in the transatlantic slave trade, when you talk about 200 million when it comes to what the Spanish conquistadors, Europeans, did to the Mayans and Aztecs, I mean, no one can really hold a torch to that. The little bit of black on black gun violence, 10,000 a year, that's nothing compared to what they do every year. So don't ever feel like, yeah, black people, we're terrible. Don't ever think like that. Just know that they are projecting what they already know about their own race. All right. So I just want brothers and sisters to be encouraged and understand, like, we living in a time period where we at the end, man. We at the end, and world war could pop off at any minute. It's so many things that are going on in the earth that are not even important. And black people, you need to stop paying attention to what Cardi B and Nicki Minaj is doing and start paying attention to what's actually going on in the real world. Right? We got to stop paying attention to these small things and stop being swayed and catch it when they're trying to take your attention off of the more important things, like how they was talking about Dr. Roberts lying about a resume versus what happened to this sister being dismembered. All right. So with that, y'all, I'm about to get up out of here. I appreciate everybody that was rocking with me today. You know what I mean? I don't have any Black Authentic Truth stories tonight, but of course I'll be back, and I'm gonna have some fire content, some fire stories to bring out next week. A story to bring out, Black Authentic Truth story. I appreciate brothers and sisters for rocking with me. I'm Thawahgabar. You already know I am. You already know where you at. This is Black Authentic Truth. Y'all stay safe. Y'all stay out the way. I'll see y'all next week. Peace.